I will try and speak slowly. Please tell me if I'm too fast. And I just want to talk a little bit about these few words, if my clicker works. There we go. Truth, myths, risk, opportunity, and hope, because we have to have hope. As people in the world of business, particularly the world we live in right now, it can feel a little hopeless. So hope is an incredibly important part of it. And the other thing that we all know in the world of business, where there is change, there is opportunity. And of course, what we're here today to really reinforce to all of you, and it's so great, thank you, France, everybody coming together here, because in my humble opinion, it has never been a better time to be in the pulp business. Your time is now. And the coming together, the collaboration, is absolutely key. First, I want to talk a little bit about plastic and climate, because I live in a world where I look through a plastic lens. I see plastic, the plastic crisis, as the gateway. That if we fix the plastic crisis, we will fix directly and indirectly so much else. Because they, of course, are intrinsically connected. Carbon, I don't know, I can't see it, I can't feel it, I can't touch it. Plastic, we all have the plastic guilt. Every time we go shopping, we fill our baskets with plastic. We put it into a bin for some mythical recycling fairy to take away and make into new plastic. Now we know the truth, we all feel that guilt. So I think plastic is an incredible gateway for us to address so many other issues that we have caused. I was up at COP26 a year ago, and it shocked me that there was not one single conversation at any level about the plastic crisis. And everybody said to me, Siân, what we need to fix carbon. We need to talk about the climate crisis. And we'll come back to the plastic crisis later. And yet, here we are. If the plastics industry were a country, it's the 5th biggest emitter of greenhouse gases. So how it cannot be on the agenda of something as important as COP is amazing to me. The amount of carbon that is emitted by the plastics industry alone takes up 14% of our 1.5-degree carbon budget. So for every ton of plastic, we are producing 5 tons of CO2. This is not even including the damage that we know we're causing every living thing on the planet. And it's getting worse. So thanks to President Trump, God bless him, he approved 42 new plastics facilities just in 2019 alone. COVID was a gift to the fossil fuel industry. Plastic suddenly became the savior of the world. And so this is what's happening right now. And there was, at the beginning of our awakening to the plastic crisis, there was a lot of talk about, oh, it's coming out of Asia. It's coming out of these 9 Asian rivers. You know, we need to look at Malaysia and China. They're the big culprits. But no, the USA, biggest producer per capita of plastic waste. And Europe is number 2. We are not dealing with our own dirt. We are exporting so much of it. In the UK, we still export over 60% of our plastic waste, largely to developing countries. This, for me, is like waste imperialism. How can we be doing this? But the biggest thing for me that is so fascinating about the plastic crisis, and the reason that myself as an entrepreneur is so obsessed by it, is I see it as the one thing, the one invented material that enabled us to break the system of take, make, repair, reuse, all of those things to take, make, and waste. Put it in a bin, expect that mythical recycling fairy to come and do something with it. So for me, the climate crisis is largely caused by our addiction to stuff. The fact that we consume so much stuff now, particularly in the West, of course. We've got these giddy levels of hyperconsumption. And that was enabled by plastic, because there is not enough natural resource out there, circular materials, in order for us to make the amount of stuff that we make now. We look at fashion. 70% of all our textiles are now made out of plastic. This is plan B for the fossil fuel industry. And again, there's nothing but conversations about recycling, particularly with plastic. There is no financially beneficial recycling system for plastic in the world. It doesn't make sense still. But even if there were, even if we were to magically go from 9% global plastic being recycled to something like 90%, imagine that could happen, there is another reason why we shouldn't be recycling plastic, and that is, exactly as Monica referred to, the amount of chemicals that we are using now and the impact on human health. So I wondered if there was a way to create a different kind of organisation, not a charity, not another NGO, nothing to do with beach cleanups, because God bless the people that collect on the beaches, and I see them with the bag of plastic, thinking, and now what? Where do I put it? Where's the system that I can put this stuff so it doesn't end up back in the waste container on its way to Turkey or in an incinerator? You know, we have to move away from thinking about the waste. This is our ecosphere, you know, where everything is global. One man's waste is another man's problem. So much as I'm based in London, we do a lot of work in the US and in Europe. One of our projects, we launched a campaign in 2019. Impeccable timing, actually it was 2020 February, the minute that COVID started to hit, and everything became single dose, protected in a little plastic sachet. Probably what is one of the most famous plastic sachets of all, the Heinz tomato ketchup sachet. Who knew tomato ketchup, delicious, so difficult to package, because of its pH, everything about tomato sauce is a nightmare. But we are now at the final point where we have 4 different solutions, all of which are plastic free, nothing more natural than skin. You know, if an animal dies in the wild, everything goes back to the earth as a nutrient for the next cycle of growth. But what do we do to leather? We treat it with we tan it, we use chromium, we use heavy metals, we use toxic dyes, and therefore it can't go back to nature as a nutrient. So the key to everything is to take nutrients, to bake them, mold them, shape them into something that is useful for us, but do not chemically modify them, because then they can go back. So this wallet is one of those. This material called mirum is a nutrient. You could chop this up, you could put it in the soil, it needs no composting, because it is already a nutrient, and it will break down and be additive to the soil. So he's just won this big Inventor of the Year award. The person that won last year was the inventor of the vaccine. The person that won it the year before created the CRISPR technology for the genome. All of you have the opportunity to ride that ball of change, to be that wrecking ball of change. That's the provocation that I give you today. And I love this quote from Margaret Mead: "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." So my final question, my final provocation to you all is, are you in? And how far are you in? How committed are you to step up to this new level of responsibility, of innovation, to be that wrecking ball of change? Thank you.